Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the community. I'm Rachel Arazo, your intuitive divination mentor and intuitive biz coach. Hello. Let me make sure that I have sound. And let's see. I hope everyone is having a fabulous Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. And I always put on headbands that want to fall. So I'm probably going to get frustrated halfway through and take this off. But whatever. Let's see. Good morning, Rolly. Good morning, everybody. Let's make sure I got sound. Let us see. Rachel, I just saw your post. I will go ahead and take a look at it in a second. Let's see. Yep, I have sound. Today, woo. Bump, 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 bump. Today, for our workshop, I've got a little incense going. Just because today felt like an incense morning. And then also, I've got a little fast money candle going today to give us all some extra luck and abundance today. So let me know about how it works for you today. And you're going to see this plume of incense going on in the corner over here. Good morning, Amy, or Ren, whichever one you want me to do. Hi, Noelle. Blessed be. I hope you're doing fabulous. Woo! I'm going to tag some people that wanted to be tagged. Let's see. So we've got Caitlin is already here. Good morning. Thank you for the sound check. You're fabulous. Heidi wanted to be tagged. And I'm going to tag Waynetta, because you won't be able to be here live with us. But seriously, anybody who's not here live with us, do hashtag replay. Still let me know of questions that you have today. Pop them in the comments for me. It's Ren. Facebook let me drop the Amy. Okay, I will call you Ren then. Hello, Ren. Hope you're doing fabulous. Let's see. Rolly says, it's too funny. I have not caught lives or activity in the group, and this week I think it's every time you've been on. I know! I'm so glad that you're here. It's been a while since you've been to one of my lives. I think you're gonna like today. Let's see. Well, yeah, I just finished my third and final interview for my new job. I claim, yes! I'm gonna blow the smoke your way. Send it to Noelle. I have a feeling today, because this is really going to combine everything that we've talked about this past month into one nice little hodgepodge that makes sense. That this is going to help people get the fast money stuff. If you are the mothers and up. If you are my maidens, it's going to help you really get that flow of abundance of knowledge. The candle specifically is all about receiving joy from things that have decided to leave. Yay! Hi, Robin. I hope you're doing fabulous. Absolutely, Noelle. I hope you're awesome. So today we're going to be talking about setting the stage through soul branding. We're going to sit here for a few hours and talk about this, because I could talk about this all day. So little backstory about this first, because I want to make it clear on what branding is and what, pertaining to your level here within this group, what you feel you are, how you can apply what we're talking about today. So for what is branding? Everything, when you show up online, when you show up as a person, you yourself are a brand. You got up this morning and put on a certain pair of clothes, or if you're still wearing your PJs, you put on those PJs for a reason. And it portrays a certain kind of energy for yourself. Rolly, you would actually be the mother, because you are doing your own stuff, and you're still learning, but things are happening because you're doing your business. So that's where I would consider you. But because I know about you and your biz, you would probably be a mother. By the way, your hair looks great. Thank you. Actually, side note before we get started, which is probably going to impact my brand, if you guys have seen those amazing videos for Coco and Eve, like the coconut hair mask, I have one coming. So we'll see how that impacts my brand when that happens. Actually did my makeup this morning. Cool. I'm not wearing makeup, guys. I never wear makeup. But if wearing makeup makes you feel fabulous, go for it. You're beautiful either way, but I hope it makes you feel like even more of a goddess. So when it comes to your brand, branding is the way you talk. You talk in a very specific kind of way. And actually, that's something I'm going to mention. I gotta pop that in my things. Branding is the way that you write. Hi, Janice. We just got off a call. Branding is the way that the world sees you. And usually when we think of brands, when it comes to a business sense, we think of the font, we think of the colors, we might think of the mission statement that people put up and they talk about how they represent their brand. Some people think of clothing when they think of brand, but in this sense, your brand is who you are as a reader, as a business owner, whoever you are. And it makes it so you're flowing in the direction that you want to flow. So let me know if that makes sense. And when it comes to brands today, I'm going to be breaking it down. So no matter who you are, whether you are doing things for free as a maiden, or whether you are mothers and up and you are charging for your services, or you want to start, you will know how to create a brand for yourself and express who you are and use that for your reading style. Caitlin says, I always think of logos. Yeah, so that's a wonderful point. You think of the Nike logo. Actually, whenever I think of this, I don't know if they have it anywhere else, but when I was growing up here in Colorado, I think of the commercials for checking the cash. Anytime someone came onto... whenever someone talks about going to get quick money loans, checking the cash. And that's what they would do in the commercial. So that's a brand. Michael Jordan is a brand. And what does his brand consist of? Basketball stuff. He doesn't go to golf stuff. Golf was embarrassing. He's mostly going to be basketball stuff. I'm trying to think of another brand. McDonald's is a brand. You can see in the colors, you can see in the golden arch, you can see in the way that the restaurants are set up, how quickly the food comes out. If you look at a menu and you have never been to McDonald's before, or you don't have one in your area and you used to go to it, just by hearing the name of the items on the menu, you will know that it is McDonald's, right? Trump, not going into political things here, he has a brand. Everybody knows Trump and his brand, based off of examples that you have heard in your own life. So these are some examples. Let's see. Caitlin's laughing. Ren says, what if it feels like you don't have a look? I have a voice, reading and writing, but my appearance can vary wildly. That's a very good question, and we're actually going to talk about this today. If you don't have a specific look, you still fit within a theme. Whatever that theme is Ren. Just like whatever the theme that I have is Rachel. Someone can look at it and see this. My husband has a theme. Rolly has a theme. Caitlin has a theme. Everybody has something that branches into the gigantic hodgepodge of what is you. So even if you do not have a specific look according to media, you still are... You yourself are some kind of brand. The only thing is just actually noticing the parts of it that matter. Or not parts that matter, but the parts that are influenced by that. And noticing how it all plays together. Does that make sense? Let me know if it does. Heidi says to Ren, your look could just be cool and flowy. Yes, that's an example of it. But even outside, usually when we think of this kind of stuff, like when we think of a brand or think of having a look, we think of fashion. And if you don't have a particular fashion that you flow with or that you actually follow, that's fine. But everything that you own still cohedes together. It still all comes together in some sort of way. I waved to everybody as they came in, but hello, personally. I hope you're doing really wonderful today. Yes. Okay, cool. That's awesome. And at any time, that's a really wonderful question. If you have questions like that, or if it's not, you feel like it doesn't apply to you, seriously pop it below and I will totally answer it and walk you through it. So, what does it mean today when I'm talking about a brand? We might talk about font, like the style of writing that you have on the computer, or even calligraphy if you do it by hand. We might talk about your clothes. We might talk about sounds and fabrics, and we're going to be very immersed in sensations today when I'm talking about this, because if you've been a part of the community for a while, you know how detailed I like to talk. So I might mention scents, which is something that I did not include in this list. I have a list of the things that we're going to go through so I stay on track. So we are going to talk about all kinds of things, and the way that we're going to do this, and I'm going to give my experience with this. So what got me started with branding and understanding a whole cohesive brand was from me being a director. Okay? The program that I went through to get my degree in theater, and it required doing your thesis for the year was to do something related to the theater, whether that was set design, so building the set, costume design, whatever it was. I picked directing a show. So I had to go through and pick a play. It was a one-act play. I decided to do The Intruder by Maurice Moiterlink. It's a free play. Feel free to go take a look at it. I'll actually type it out. The Intruder by Maurice Moiterlink. That's the name of the play. Feel free to go read it. It's free on Google. I purposely picked that so we wouldn't have to do royalties for anybody. But because this was published before 1904 for the United States, we didn't have to do royalties. So, that was the play I picked. And with that play came a theme. It came a brand. Everything that was associated with that, I needed to, it needed to make cohesive sense. So once a month, throughout the end of production, we had to do a couple of things. First, I had to read through the script, and I'm going to explain what this means for you and what it means for what we're talking about now, but I'm giving an example of what I did. I had to read through the script, and I had to completely understand it and make sure I loved it. I had to find a stage manager, right-hand man, or woman in this case. I had a girl, who would take care of the technical stuff for me and keep everyone organized so I could focus on creative stuff. For my mothers and crones, this would be equivalent to you getting a VA. By the way, I had to cast my show. I had to sit through auditions. I sat through over, I want to say 40 auditions because we were a small community, and I had to pick 6 people to be in my stuff. So this would be the equivalent of people applying to a program or people in a group and you doing free readings or you signing coaching clients, and that is who actually signs with you as the equivalent. And from that point on, I had to once a month do a meeting with a cast of people. So today, for your brand, we are going to talk to the people that I had to talk to, not actually, but the person that is in charge of a certain area and what that means for your brand. You are going to be a director, like I am, only you are going to be creating the show, not in the fake kind of sense, in the playful kind of sense. You're going to creating the production, the show, for your reading persona, or for your business, or for your healing abilities. Wherever you decide to set the stage, whether you are a maiden, a mother, or a crone, that's what we are going to do today. Let me know if that makes sense. I want to make sure it's crystal clear for you, because if my audience does not understand, what is the point in doing it, right? So give me hearts and likes if that makes sense. If it doesn't, seriously let me know, because I want to make sure you understand. Let's see. Makes sense? Awesome, Brenda. Oh, hello, by the way. Hope you're doing awesome. Caitlin says, my personal look is so confusing, I need to figure out my reading look. Absolutely, we're going to do that today. And literally all of this, you can bring together to create your reading look. Do not feel ashamed at any point if you come up with a persona. I love reading personas. You're creating a character. It makes me so happy. So that might happen today. You might come up with the brand for your business and the complete look for it. This is something that literally my mothers and my crones, we are going to do in the academy this semester, okay? But we're going to do it more detailed there. Today is going to be like, think of it as an intensive class today. Let's see. Ren says, I have a huge variation between hair curly, hair back, makeup or not. The variation has surprised people. That's okay. That might be a part of your brand. We'll find out today. Heidi says, mine is simple and comfy. That is absolutely a brand. Ooh, I love calligraphy. Calligraphy is awesome. I love it so much. I'm getting hearts and likes. Fabulous. Caitlin says, I spent 2 hours cleaning my corner yesterday so I could create a look for live videos. Yes. Okay. So, which that's a nice little side note. If you have not created the space for you to go ahead and set this brand up today after we talk and you really feel inspired to do this, clear out a space so you can actually create this. But let's walk our way through it. So here we are. We're in a meeting. We're going to go ahead and talk to our different people who are in charge of all the areas for our show, right? For the show that is our reading style, or the show that is our business. So first we're going to talk to our set designer. Okay, our set designer is the person who creates the physical space. If the set is not safe, your actors or the people that you work with through readings or through your packages, whether you're a reader, a maker, a healer, or a teacher, the people you work with and your clients will not have a safe space to practice. Physically, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, all that. For actors, literally physically, if the stairs aren't safe, the actors are going to get hurt during a show. This set needs to be foundationally strong throughout the entire show, the entire run of the show. Whether this is going to be a temporary program or a temporary reading, or this is going to be a long-term thing that you run reoccurringly, like the Academy. It's reoccurring. So your set is going to pertain of the physical space around you. When someone walks into your space, how are they going to feel? How are you going to keep that space safe? And where do you provide it? This can be you setting up a table in a reading shop, or setting up a table to do a random or one of the video hotlines, or any of the hotlines really, and creating a safe space. We as metaphysical folk like to go ahead and do some incense, like I did today. We like to light candles. That is a part of setting up the physical space. So what does this mean? For your brand, how clean is it? Like literally, do you have trash everywhere? How often do you clean it? Do you have books in your space? One of the exercises that I like to walk coaching clients through is, let's sit down and talk about literally, if someone were to walk into your psychic fair tent, what does it look like? There's a difference between a square tent, a teepee tent, one of those Arabian tents. Like, there are so many different types of tents, and it's going to set the intention for where you are. So what does your tent look like? Yes, and there absolutely will be a replay. Fabulous question, Heidi. This isn't going anywhere. No opt-in required. You will have this replay. I'm not planning on getting rid of this. But we want to talk about your set first. Now, your set needs to be a place where you feel comfortable expressing yourself. And every set is going to look different. Where I directed, it was called a theater in the round. That means there's an area in the middle for the actors to be, and the audience can sit all around it. So there's no walls. If you put up a wall, audience is not going to be able to see. So it's very open and it's very vulnerable. People can see you from all sides, and you have to be very aware of what it looks like from all angles. So when I did this in actual person, picture very like 7-month pregnant me, because that's Lily went to rehearsals with me because I was pregnant with her, moving around the auditorium as my people were acting to make sure all my sight lines were good and body positions were good. My readers, this is going to matter on how you lay out the card spread. Can your audience, aka your client that you are doing the reading for, see what you're doing? Your set might be taking a camera and putting it drop down so people can see the table as you're pulling the cards, and maybe they see your face. Right? Perhaps your set is a proscenium, like a movie. Technically, what I am doing right now, you watching the computer right now and seeing this video, is a proscenium stage, because you are seeing me from one direction. There is a fourth wall here, and I am breaking the fourth wall because I'm talking directly to you. That's where that term comes from. But there's a wall here, there's a wall in the back, And there's an imaginary wall right here because that's where the screen ends. Every movie you've ever watched is in a proscenium. Just to let you know. I need to get charger roll. But most of the time, if you're going to do live streams, that means that you need to take into account the wall behind you or the things that are on the sides of you, because that is going to be a part of your brand. And it matters because that's the physical space around you. Okay? Let's see. So what are some ideas popping into your head here? Like, seriously, if you get confused, I'm using some jargon here, but I'm wanting to make sure you understand what I'm talking about. Caitlin says, oh my God, it looks bad, but my psychic tent is square with galaxy sparkles. That's not bad. That's super creative. I love it to my core. So your set, Caitlin, if we think about this, what's the fabric of the tent? Where did you get it? Is it a Walmart square tent, or did you make it yourself? Did you hand stitch that tent together, or did you have somebody else do it for you? Use that. And if you have ideas come up like that, everybody throughout this, write them down, because we're going to put this into play at the end of it when I talk to you about how to invoke your brand. I already bought the fabric. It's silk from Joann's. Good. That is going to give a specific feel. So then, let's use Caitlin's example here. If we were to walk into her square tent, that is a galaxy. When we walk inside of it, what's it gonna look like? Okay. What's the table going to look like? What are the chairs going to look like? Are they 1920s chairs? Is there a 18th century chaise lounge? Are they ottomans or poofs? Like, what is the physical furniture within your set? That matters. We're going to get into lighting in a second, but the placement of the lighting, that is a physical thing. Me personally, I love chandeliers. Chandeliers are so pretty to me. My ideal psychic reading tent has a fucking chandelier in it. And that decides the kind of place that I would want to go work. They have to have power for me, so I can go ahead and do that. The psychic fair that I was gonna do last year, didn't have any electronics, like didn't have any power. So I had candy corn lights that you see behind me that were gonna be strung up all around the sides. So that would set my set. That's my physical. So I would tell my set designer, and you can literally do this if you need to journal this out, tell your set designer what you want your set to look like. And you are the director. You have a right to be demanding. Okay? That is your job. You are the director. You can be demanding. And they will make it happen. You can do metal stuff. Like literally, you would need a welder, which your set designer, if they're good, they will know how to weld. You might need someone to work on a lathe, and you're going to need a carpenter that knows how to work that correctly. But that's their job. So go all out. Think of your set and how that looks. Okay? So that's the first one to really think about, is what does your space look like? Intentionally, I have this stuff behind me for a reason. It means something to me. I've got my little palmistry dude there, my little palmistry sign, for a reason. I've got my lights for a reason, even if I don't use them all the time. I have my leaves for a reason. I've got my bulletin board and my books for a reason. I've got my fan for a reason. All of it is for a reason. It is a part of my brand. It is a part of the show that I put on. So this is going to change over time as the reason you do your business changes. But your physical set is what you want to take into account, because that's what's going to stimulate people's eyes. Let me know if that makes sense. Let me see. Heidi says, oh my goodness, now I want a chaise lounge. Right? I love chaise lounges. Ren says, you mentioned books but didn't expand on it. My nook is walled in books, including challenging subjects, trauma, DV. I wonder if that's reassuring or nerving. Let me see. Yeah, you can have books around you if that is a part of your stuff. You can have literally anything. The kind of vibe that you put off And we aren't talking about appealing to a specific person here. Your ideal soul clients are going to be attracted to you based on if you are being yourself or not, because that's all that really matters. Domestic violence, Heidi. That's what I'm assuming DV is. So if you, Ren, are going to be about books and knowledge, then you would go ahead and address that. You would want that behind you. Whatever is going to convey something to you. I'm a divination person. I've got to have something divination behind me. Autumn is my thing. I've got to have my autumn behind me and my candy corn lights. I am a mother. I'm going to have something from my child behind me. Maybe things that I've crafted myself, like the little Brigit's cross. I like the Eastern traditions more than the Western traditions. So I've got my fans. Because that's me. That is all playing into who I am. And whatever set you to create today is going to reflect you. So if you want books, go for books. Like, that's fabulous. Oh, that's okay. And that's the, and I don't find it unnerving in the slightest. Because then that means that something that interests you, and that is the experience that you are getting through what you are reading, and you are getting certifications, and you are learning about. So that's not unnerving in the slightest. That's your space. Okay? It's going to be different than mine. So that's really fabulous. Let me see. Caitlin says, I'm so old school. I like the candles. Good. So maybe you have a candelabra. And again, we're going to talk about lighting in a second. But maybe you have that. Or maybe you have the old Phantom of the Opera kind of chandelier above you that's out of candles and it's not electric. Well, that one was an electric one. But you know what I mean. Oh my god, I have all those people. Yes! Brittany says, I can't wait. Hi, Brittany. I can't wait until we sell the old house and I could decorate my new, decorate up my office set. Awesome! So use what you're doing today to then create your set. I want lights and a fancy wilderness themed tapestry. Ooh, I love it. I love it. So much. Rolly says, I don't think it would be unnerving. My books are not behind me, but I have quotes behind me. Yeah, you can absolutely do that. My books are under my desk. Ideally, I would love to have my books on display because I use my books a lot, right? Especially when I'm working. Let's see. Heidi says, I have my Greek god, goddess sculptures. Awesome! So that would be a part of your set. Ren says, so we should self-caricature or maybe brainstorm visuals of who you are. Yes, and we are going to talk about that today with how to start with this. But this is to get you an idea of the places that you would need to think about this. It might actually help you because you're very verbal, Ren, to go ahead and write this out. To journal about this for quite some time. Maybe even sketch out like a set designer. Set designers have to make physical like model sets all the time out of board and stuff. I had to do that. In order to become a set designer and get certified for that, I had to do that. It might help you to literally do that because you put so much thought into your stuff, so that will help you. Go for pages. Get all the details because the details matter. And that's really what today is about, is the details matter for your stuff. Heidi says, my one Greek goddess is on a chaise lounge. Yes! I love it so much. Okay, so that is our set. That is the physical space. And for my coaches and my people who are online, your set is also going to be where you host your content. Are you on Thinkific? Are you on Teachable? Are you on Udemy? Do you have it on your website? How is it set up when they log in? Like, what are you giving? Like, the way that you set it up online, do you offer a group? Do you have units in your group, like I like, where you categorize all the content for them? That is a part of your set, okay? It's not your physical space, but because it's online, and if you're working online, it's going to matter how you set this up. Same thing with the way that you organize information that comes in. Are you saving the readings that come in for you, or the recordings or the PDFs that you have sent out to people? I suggest you start doing that so you can organize your setup. But that counts as well for the online space. We've talked about physical That counts for the online space too. The kind of group or the place where you host support, or the place where they receive the content matters. And that set needs to be updated every time you update your physical space, okay? Let's see. Brittany says, I did theater in school. This calls to me. Yes! I love my thespians. Let's see. Caitlin says, I have a group, but I'm just starting to get my units together. That's okay. That's okay. You don't have to have a billion of them. In fact, that confuses the hell out of people. And actually, pretty soon, I'm probably going to go through the group and change up the set in here. Mainly the units tab and what trainings are available here, so I won't overwhelm people with how much information there is. But if the set and the system is too complicated, people aren't going to like it. Same thing if you were to walk into somebody's house and they're a hoarder, you're not going to want to work with them. You're not even going to want to be in there because you can't find a place to sit down, right? So think of it that way. Rolly says, my site is too complicated, so by April 1st, we'll incorporate everything on WordPress instead of website and Thinkific. Totally get that. And you can absolutely do that. This is something to think about when thinking about the set for your business or the set for your readings or healings or whatever you want to do. Matters, you know. Just make sure it's as streamlined as you want it, because you're the director. You can be as demanding as you want. Then we just got to fill in the blanks in time for the show to start. Right? So, now that we have talked to our set person, and we've talked about how we want it to look, the next person that needs to talk to the set is our costume designer. Okay? Actually, yeah, we talked to the set first to get the physical place, and the reason we got to talk to the costume designer for next is because everybody else after that has to pay attention to bouncing lights off of things and sound echo and stuff like that. But the set gets built first, the costumes get built, and then we do a lighting check to make sure the colors on the costumes don't look funky. Okay? So we talked to our costume designer, the one in the corner that's covered in glitter and fabric threads, okay? And probably has a seam ripper in their bucket. Our costume designer is going to care about how we look. They may work with another department that I'm going to talk about in a second when it comes to upholstery. But your people, your clients, are going to look a certain way for a reason, okay? The costumes and the fabrics matter. And for you, the costume that we're worrying about, and again, this is not in the fake way, this is in the playful way. I'm not encouraging you to be fake at what you do. I'm encouraging you to break out of your box, to say, fuck you, I'm not fake, okay? And enjoy a little bit here. So we're going to talk about your costume. This is the way that you dress. This is your makeup. Makeup design and costume design, they're the same department. Makeup designer has to talk to the costume designer. This is your hair and things like that. This is the time period. If your set is put in a certain time period. So for example, I had a really fabulous conversation the other day with somebody who has a persona from the 1920s. So her costumes, including her nails, because that was a big thing for her, is her nails, are going to look different than someone who is from the 1940s and wants their business to be based around that time period. Their costumes, how they look, how they dress, how they show up for lives, how they show up at a psychic fair, the setup for their online programs or their readings, or even just the PDF that you send out to the people that has their reading in it is going to look different because you need to take that into account. Costume includes your colors and your color palette. Are you into the cool colors? Most likely you are upper 3 chakra based if you're into cool colors. Actually upper 4, because you would do the heart. Are you warm color based? You're going to be lower 3 chakra based. And your business is going to reflect that energy. I'm all about getting foundations. I'm not going to be super woo with you. I'm going to give you foundation and be a little more masculine about it. Hence my branding. I'm warm colors. Come into my house where it's warm, tell me the problem, and we'll fix the foundational issues. That's my stuff. So, your costuming, your colors are going to be impacted. The fabric that you use is very important. I'm a Taurus. We're going to talk about fabric for a minute. Okay? Crinoline is going to be different than silk, which is going to be different than velvet, which is going to be different than cashmere. When you touch it, when you touch that tarot reading cloth, when you put that magnifying glass and you go to look at somebody's lines as a palmist, if that bag, that velvet bag that you pick up and you toss your bones out of, it's going to be different every single time depending on who you are. My Reiki people, your massage table is going to have different things on it. Do you have crystals taped to the bottom? Do you have sigils carved into the bottom of the table? What kind of fabric is on that massage table so you can do the Reiki healings? It's all going to be different, and it matters with your costumes. Do you have long flowy sleeves, or are you up here so your arms are out of the way and it doesn't get in the way? It's going to matter. Is your hair going to be down like mine with a headband, or is yours going to be up in a ponytail or a bun because you're going to be moving around? It's going to matter. So think about your costume. Okay? Let's see. Heidi, will you be working with the classes on the group? I want to make sure to get through before they're removed. I don't know when they're going to be moved. They will just be taken out of the group and just stay on the vault, if that makes sense. I will give you more details about that, though. How do 1920 styles nail look? Well, think about it. Think about the location. So this is when you got to do some research. Okay? So, for example, The Intruder by Maurice Moiterlink, 1700s. Man, it's been a minute since I've seen this play. Since I've done this research. I'm pretty sure it was 1700s that I did. And it was in Northern Europe. I had to look at the time period. I had to look at the class of people that were living there, because that's going to tell me the kind of fabric and the kind of clothes and the kind of colors that are going to be on there. It's also going to tell me the set and the kind of furniture that they can have. I had to look at the temperate of the climate. How cold is it? How warm is it? When is their growing season? What kind of jobs do they have? Is the father a farmer? He was a farmer. But he had enough money to hire a servant to take care of the grass outside, because that was mentioned specifically in the script. So I had to adhere to that. You have to take into account all of those kinds of things. So you would have to do some research about time period specific furniture, time period specific nails. So since that was an example, let's take a look. 1920s nail art. Yes, nail style, actually. And I will show you guys. You will work. Okay, so very simple. Think about this as kind of the time of film noir. So they've got the bold red lipstick, pale face. They've got waves for the hair. It's going to be pushed back, though, which makes sense for our makeup department. They're going to have to do hair that's pushed back according to how it looks with the costume. Bloop. You get to see my face up close. There's an ad. Let me make sure you can see it. Yeah, there's an ad for Q-Tex nail polish from the time period. You can see how the nails look. Looks like white tips, red in the middle, white at the bottom near the cuticle. Okay? I'm trying to make sure. Shaky cam. But that's how the nails look. And that tells you the kind of bottle that it's going to look like, the kind of box that it's going to come in. And here's a few pigments as examples. Wonderful question, but that requires research. And this is specifically for flappers for the 1920s or 1930s. This is called a moon manicure. You would look up moon manicures if you have a 1920s kind of style for your stuff. Period appropriateness. Okay? Please don't be like a bad Hollywood movie and not be period appropriate. It's going to drive me up the wall. Okay? Same thing for your lipstick. You don't have to be all out and get time period specific lipstick from that time period and it's old and all that kind of stuff. Or people who make it with a certain press. If you want to get that detailed, go for it. There might be a certain type of energy work there for you. But that is an example of something like that. Let's see. Hi, Kat. I hope you're doing wonderful. Noelle says, I can so relate. As a web designer, creating the vision for your client's space is essential and magical. I created a personal sacred space is essential to one's spiritual growth. The soul needs its own expression in space. Absolutely. Yes. I love it so much. You create that sacred space, right? Heidi, so flooding with green all over should show the amount of heart in my work. Yes, heart chakra, Care Bear stare, okay? That is going to matter. Woo! I got candle dripping all over the table. I'm gonna have to clean that up. Rachel, running late this morning, so I have to catch the replay, I'm guessing. Yeah, if you want to talk about set and costumes, you'll have to start over, but I'm glad that you're here, Rachel. So think about that. How you present yourself. Are you wearing a hat? Are you wearing a robe? What kind of costume do you wear when you want to do a reading or do anything associated with your abilities? Now, usually costume comes into play for just magical stuff and for witchcraft. We're going to talk about that. By talking about if you want to be sky-clad or if you want a robe or something like that. Setting the sacred space and the circle space, if you choose to do that for your stuff, counts as your set. And if you choose to be sky-clad or wear a special robe or something like that, counts as your costume. Just saying. The color of the costume that you are wearing matters. If you're using body paint, that counts as your costume. All of it counts. If you put it on your body, it counts as a costume. And the costumes department would take care of it. If you put it on the stage, most likely it's going to be the set department. Unless it's of a certain size, then that's going to be a different department we're going to talk about in a second. Okay, I'm very 15th century. Okay, so you would do 15th century stuff, okay? And you would incorporate that into the look of your tent and your set. That would incorporate into the look of the costumes you wear, the furniture that people would sit on, everything like that. Your office would be 15th century. As an example. So, we've talked to two departments. Now, we're going to talk to the more of the adaptable ones that fill in the blanks. It would be our lighting department next. Because we have the person on the stage, person in the costume, and the lighting department has to make sure the right light is shining on them so it doesn't turn a yellow dress purple. It happens with the wrong lighting, okay? Now, I'm not going to get into the details about lighting design because it is a little bit different. However, the lighting that you choose as an everyday person doing their readings, again, for free or for paid, matters. Because it's going to set the mood. For you, it's going to matter if we can see what the hell you are doing. No matter how much your mood lighting is, you need to make sure it's bright enough that people can see your cards or your bones or something like that. Unless working with shadows is supposed to be important. Okay? You might like candle flame. You might like stained glass lamps. You might like oil lamps or chandeliers and candelabras. You might want a spotlight. Whatever you want to do, your lighting matters. Outside of your tent, if we're talking about a physical space, you might have tiki torches, or you might have lanterns, or whatever it looks like. Now, some of these things you can't change. If you have a physical shop, sometimes you can't change the lighting that you have outside. However, you can still make the lighting inside look a certain way. Metaphysical shop that I like to go do readings at has dripping lights, has dripping Christmas lights, or icicle lights, I'm sorry, that are rainbow colored in the window, that even when the shop is closed, they are on, and they are dripping. That is the look for the place. It emphasizes the different colors, and when you walk in, it's surrounded by crystals. So at night, that rainbow light is hitting the crystals, and it makes it look really, really pretty. Boom! A tent with a spotlight would be so cool. Okay, so that's your stuff. My weakest point. The idea is we still pick something that is period appropriate if you want to go with time period, or appropriate to you and your brand, but gives enough light. Now, there is intentional lighting. So for example, if I'm having someone do a soliloquy on stage, aka they're talking to themselves or to God or to the audience, This would be to be or not to be from Hamlet. That's a soliloquy. If he's talking to a person on stage and someone is actually there and you can see them, that's a monologue. Just to let you know. If I want to emphasize just that person and make a blank spotlight, I would have only a spotlight come down. An example for lighting when it came to my production for The Intruder. There is a blind grandfather. So, a part of the costume was my actor had to be blind the entire time. And it actually screwed up his lines when I had him do a run without a blindfold on. I fucked him up. That was my bad. But there is one point in the play where he says death is sitting next to him. Or he feels like someone is sitting next to him. He never says death. They never say that it's death. But that's what it's supposed to be. So you have this blind man sitting on a couch, period appropriate couch, and all of a sudden a light turns on as as the old man's sitting there. And he's like, someone is sitting next to me, and everybody's thinking he's crazy. But the people in the audience, that I could hear them, and it was awesome, because they're like, it's sitting next to him, something's sitting next to him. Yeah, because the light turned on. There was this purple light that started shining on the couch that was very dim, but those who caught it are awesome. Death was sitting next to him. And then when the man got up, death disappeared and the light turned off, and everybody's like, oh my god. So, it matters, okay? Do you want a moonlight coming in? Okay, and make it seem like the moon is shining in. You're going to pick a cooler colored light or a cooler colored light bulb. Do you want it to be rosy and romantic and kind of like smoky in the room? Then you're going to have a lot of incense, which we're going to get to smells in a little bit. But you're going to pick a light that is maybe warmer. Maybe it looks a little red or pink or orange in the room. You know, it's going to be a little bit more exotic. So this matters. Think about your lighting. When it comes to my online people, the lighting that you use and the filters that you use need to be consistent. If you are using filters for your stuff, make sure they are consistent. Don't switch up your filters. It's going to confuse people and it's going to look funky. Use the same filter for all of your photos. Your lighting matters. Use similar lighting. Best lighting? A window. I have no lights on in this room. I've got a window. And I'm sitting next to a window for the best natural light. But there's plenty of it, and you can see me, right? And if I want to turn it up, woo, I can turn it up. Or I can turn it down and close the blinds. But this is really good for me, right? So lighting is intentional. I wanted natural light. If you want natural light, make sure there's a window somewhere that you are doing your stuff at. And the better that you face the light, true, I've got reflection, so that's hard for me to do, right? But the more natural light you have, the better. It makes it feel real, okay? Because it is real. This is a nice idea, oh my god. Yes! Lighting! Angela, hi Rachel. Hi Angela! I hope you're doing awesome. We're getting creative today. I know the wheels are turning for everybody, and it makes me kind of happy. Makes me very happy. So, how are we doing so far? We've been talking for about almost an hour, about 50 minutes, and we're only part of the way through this. So let me know how you're feeling. If you're good, give me hearts and likes. If you're confused, seriously, let me know. And I'm waiting for it to catch up. Let me know. I'm not getting nothing. I'm gonna assume everybody's good. Okay. Boop, 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 boop. Hearts. Yay! Janice has got it. Heidi's got it. Awesome sauce. We'll watch the replay. That's okay. The replay will be here. Thank you so much for hopping in. I can't see hearts when I hit them. That's okay. I can see you. I see them. No worries. Yay, Caitlin's got it. Cool. Away from the microphone. Okay. Awesome sauce. Angela's got it. So now that we've got our lighting and we've set the mood, we're going to get into some itty bitty things that this is what's going to take your brand above and beyond. Okay. We got our sound department. A lot of readers, and actually a lot of metaphysical people, mainly the healers and the people who are more touchy, like Reiki, massage therapy, stuff like that, they use sound a lot of the time. But this can be used in other ways, like meditations and things like that. The sound is what your audience hears. Obviously. So the kind of sounds that you have going on around you matter. This is the music that you use for intros and outros. This is if you use binaural beats during your meditations. If you learn NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, and you use that for your meditations, that counts as sound. We're good. My play is delayed. Oh no! No! Work! I send all the energy for it to work for Ren. Jenna says, I wish I could take a picture and post it here. As you've been talking, I came over and created my sacred space for doing readings for clients in person. Ah! Yes! It makes me so happy. Seriously, post it in the group. I'll totally be your cheerleader. I'm so excited. But sound matters in a few different ways. Okay? So, first off, if you're going to be, this is if you want to be so into it. But some people, when they create personas or they do their readings, they want to have a certain accent. That's fine. That counts as a part of your sound. So, I'd recommend you take an accent class or shoot me a message. I can help you with some accents. Russian, Scottish, Irish, English, French, Italian. I can help you with this because I did accent work, okay? I am not a master at it, and if you need more help, I would suggest some people that are masters at it and might have some classes for you. But accent work, if you are going to use an accent as a part of your sound stuff, please make sure it is an actual good accent and you have been working on it. Don't just toss it out there. If it's channeled and that's what comes out, cool. Cool. But make sure that it flows, okay? And make sure that it is on point. Talk to somebody who does voice for performance because they're going to teach you how to project with an accent. And that's another thing. The biggest thing with sound that any of you have to worry about is, can we hear you? If people can't hear you, there's going to be a problem. If you have those that are hard of hearing or deaf or have a hearing issue, make sure that you are doing accommodations for them. This is something I am actively working on. We have some hard of hearing students as a part of the academy. I am working on getting closed captioning. That counts as a part of sound. Or I make sure I always face the camera so they can understand me. Otherwise, include text with your stuff if it is very important that they know. Type up whatever you talked about. You can actually hire someone to do this for you, to type up whatever you said in a video. There's programs for it too. But that is important for sound. If you are in person, then making sure that you are not yelling at somebody, but you are speaking loud, but you're speaking clearly, matters. I'm an actor. I'm used to projecting to the nosebleeds. And actually, I would get in trouble for being too loud. I am very loud because it was me being an actor combined with me being an opera singer. So, we want to make sure no matter how excited we are or how angry or enthused or whatever emotion that you are feeling while you are channeling and while you are doing whatever work you're doing, that we can hear you and understand you. If you have a hard time with dictating your words and they slur together, I suggest working on that, okay? Do some dictation videos and things like that. The way that people understand you, it's not sound, but the way that you write. And it needs to make sure that you need to make sure that it is understandable. Oh, honey, I'd break your ears. I'm gonna break your ears if I do any opera singing right now. Maybe one day. if there's enough of stuff, I'll do some opera singing, and then I'll channel and see how that goes. I have the mic for it, but I gotta fix my mic. But I'd break your ears right now. I'd probably break the microphone. But your sound, we just need to make sure that it's understandable. Now, if you have issues with your speech, that's fine. Then at least let people be aware of that. If you have an accent that is incredibly thick, that is fine. As long as you let people know, you're good. Do not feel self-conscious about your the way that you speak. All I care is, are you loud enough for me to hear you? And there's a difference from me yelling, because that's coming from here and that's going to hurt your throat chakra. We want to take it down to where it connects in your solar plexus, where your diaphragm is. So speak from the diaphragm, okay? This is not a singing class, so I'm not going to get too mad about it. But at least make it so we can understand you. But besides that, the music that you use, the keys that you use matter. So for example, for this show, The Intruder, as people were getting ready, it was intermission because that was the second show. There were two shows. The first one was Flowers for Algernon, and the second one was my show. So while people were doing intermission, they heard one song to close the end of the show for the other one, and then my stuff started. I did Oh Death, from this version from Supernatural where Death is walking down the sidewalk. I did that version of Oh Death. And then I did Long Way Down from The Evil Within, if you know that video game. I did both of those songs. Okay. And then to close out for Curtain Call, I did Bloodletting by Concrete Blonde. All of those were picked for a reason, mainly the background track. Okay? Oh Death, the whole play was about who's gonna die. Okay? It's a suspense play, so I picked Oh Death. Long Way Down is also what I picked because it's very somber. And if you listen to the lyrics, it's on purpose. Okay? And I'm actually going to type these in here so you guys can take a look at it, because I know some of you want to take a look at it. Oh Death from Supernatural. When Death is walking down the sidewalk. And some of these I made longer and I edited them, but I didn't change anything. It was Long Way Down from Death is the Intruder. Yes, it is. Go read it, Heidi. You're going to like it. From The Evil Within. And Bloodletting. The Vampire Song by Concrete Blonde. Those were the songs that were used for my sound design. And if you notice, the sound that I use for all my stuff is very intentional. So pick your sounds. Pick your binaural beats. Pick whatever you use intentionally, and it will match your brand. Hi, Kathy. Hope you're doing awesome. We're talking about sound. Okay. Ren says, what about voice sound when we're just trying to be low and calm rather than squirrel excited or high? How is that fake or something? It's not fake in the slightest. It is still a part of your brand in the way that you think or the way that you speak. It's just with a different intention. But it is all still you. So that's not fake in the slightest. That is just you in a different kind of vibe. I do meditations all the time. I actually need to recreate some for the Academy. And my voice is so much more different. I'm not upbeat when I'm doing meditations. I am purposely being low, and I am picking words intentionally. When I am channeling, my voice is different. That's just how it is. Let's see. Heidi, you can just send me a PM, Aria. Possibly. Juicy, sorry I'm late. We were caught in a time zone snafu. That's okay. I'm here. Brittany, oh my God, Algernon. Yeah, it was sad. Which, that was a perfect example, because if you know Flowers for Algernon, the actor that played the lead character had to be very specific with the way that he spoke for a good reason, because it changed throughout the show and then it dropped back down. Angela said, I think when I speak that people want to sleep. What can I do? Okay, if that's just the way that you speak, then it would have to be the content that you're talking about. Does it excite you? Okay. One thing to take note of, and this is going to go more into how to start, is all about noticing how your voice moves. And I'm going to give you some tips on how to do that. So let's wait a little bit on that question, because I'm going to answer it really well in a minute. Let's see. Angela says it must be. I don't think so, but that's what happens. Okay, we will talk about it in a second. And yes, I did see your question. It just took a moment. Rachel, oh yes, yes! Okay, so that's for sound, and I will wait until we get to the how to start doing this now, how to start fixing things, specifically with your voice and stuff, in a little bit, okay? That's going to be towards the end of this. The next section, which kind of goes with your set, but it's probably going to be more important to you, especially my people that are going to be doing this stuff in person, is your props. Technically, the tool that you use for your readings or your healings or coaching or whatever you use as a part of your toolkit are props. Props are small items. Furniture can be considered a set prop, but usually the set department would take care of that. So we're going to talk about little props, like drinking glasses. This lamp would kind of be considered a set prop, and the set department would take care of it. But it's still a part of the props department. They'd have to get the lamp and give it to the set department, and they'd have to put it on stage. My fan is a wall prop. That would be on the set, and it would stay there. But after the set is done, props department comes in, and it fills everything in. Your crystals are props. Your tarot decks are props. Any wands you use, crowns. Well, crowns will be costumes. Letters, books, candles, all of those, because they're small, are props. Okay? How you prop your space is intentional. My book's behind me, my deck right here. I have a statue of Hecate right here. Props. I've got my wand back here. I've got sage and stuff. All of these are props. So if you are making a physical tent, the props on the inside are going to matter. If you are in an online space and you are doing live streams, your props behind you matter. Usually these are things that you're going to mention during a live stream, like as a tool or something. Pendulums. Unless it's worn around your neck like I am, it would be a prop. If it's worn like this and it's a necklace, costume department. Jewelry counts as costumes. But that's example of props. And you can get very creative with your props. This can be down to your business cards are props that you hand out to people. That counts as a prop because it's really little. Any souvenirs that you give as working with you or being a part of your program, that counts. Okay. Let's see. Okay, and the next one kind of plays into props, which is your concessions. Now, I mention this because I feel like concessions, if you do them really nice, especially if you're in person, could be really cool. So this is if someone were to walk into your tent and you were to have water or a certain type of tea in a certain type of teapot, which is a prop, and served in certain cups, which are props. This would be the scents and the smells that are emanating from your tent, and someone comes into your space, you're like, ooh, I am smelling something, right? Which you got to be careful with that because some people are sensitive to smells. But all of that is included kind of in the props category. I had a coaching client that when we made her tent, it was very Arabian. And it was very fiery. It was hot when you went in her tent, like you were in the desert. She had Turkish coffee on a stand with Turkish Delight sitting next to it. So that's something powdery, along with a really pretty Turkish coffee teapot, coffee pot, and Turkish coffee cups. The tastes mattered. She did automatic writing, so her prop was a orange feather pen that she used on a specific type of parchment paper. That mattered, okay? So that's what I'm talking about when I'm saying props and tastes and sounds. It smelled like cinnamon and heat when you walked into her tent. Spicy stuff, you know? So this is extra things that would make you stand out if it's a part of your brand. But it helps you figure it out. It helps you think to yourself, okay, what is included in this? Like, how can I make this more real for me? And some of these are creating an experience for your clients or experience for people working with you. But majority of this is for you. What kind of smell? How do you want your ideal life to smell like, right? And you're going to bring those things in. Let's see. Let me catch up on stuff. I just got your message, Kat. I shall chat with you momentarily. Okay. See, Ren says, ideas about being consistent in the change, like keeping in character with a chosen accent, but less concrete for me. Okay. If you are going to, that's why the thing here is picking things that are easy for you. If an accent sounds cool, that's something that you would need to stay in character about, and you would need to take a acting class with. Maybe we'll do an acting class for tarot readers. Possibly. Channeled. Ideas. Writing it down. You're awesome, Ren. Acting class for psychics? Question mark. Okay. I'll write that down. I'll percolate on that. Not percolate. I'll think over that. At the moment, it would be picking things that are very easy for you. It would be picking things that are very second nature for you. If you are channeling and you just get into doing readings and an accent comes out, cool. It's up to you. However, it's more going to be, if you want to try to do an accent, that would be something that you'd have to go into a class with. Which now I'm seriously considering that. I will think on that. Maybe that's something we can do while we wait for enrollment to start again. We shall see. Heidi says, crowns. Now I wanted. Now I have a reason to buy that crown I wanted. Yes, go get it. Go get it. Judy says, when I read at my first event, I didn't bring anything for the table because it wasn't a metaphysical event. No one knew what I did. They saw me with a deck of cards and thought I was dealing blackjack. Yes! So it matters. If you had like an altar cloth or even a sign, like, it's not in here. I had a sign that we just brought in from the car for my palm readings that I did for the fair. Hi, Catherine. Hope you're doing awesome. If you had a sign that said psychic readings on it, then that is a part of your brand. That's part of your set. That's a prop you brought, right? And that would have helped tremendously. Heidi says, start from here when you get back. Awesome. We'll see you in a bit, Heidi. Caitlin says, I love musky smells. Okay, so you would make it smell pretty musky. That kind of environment. A lot of psychics I notice love the forest and the trees. So you would want scents of evergreen. Or what specific forest do you want to smell? Every region has a different forest. So look up the smells for that region, the kind of plants that are around, and get those smells and put them in the diffuser or something and have that in your tent. It's going to permeate. And then think about it this way. If you're in person doing readings somewhere, people all the way across from where you're working are going to be like, what is that smell? And they're going to follow it. And they're going to be like, oh my God, what is in there? It's going to attract the right people to come to you because they're going to be like, what in the world's in here? I'm interested, you know? So that's something to think about. Hi, Freya. I hope you're doing awesome. Angela, that's a great idea, an acting class. I'm going to think on that. Maybe that's something we can do in between, like, while we're waiting for enrollment for the academy to open again. Brittany was responding to Ren. I know I'm going to get on videos a lot more in the near future, so this has been really inspiring. Yay, I'm glad. Hi, Catherine. Brittany says, it's my favorite part of having my shrine room also be my office. I get the incense smells that I burn for my gods. Yes, so you would include that in your brand. Angela says, would you want to burn sage to help clear the air in between? If that is a part of your stuff, absolutely. If you were doing this in a public venue, though, be careful of people's allergies, and for fire laws, you know. However, if you want to do this, that is a part of your stuff. And even if someone cannot see you, or if someone, is, if like you're on video like this and you're burning the sage and they can't smell it, it's still showing that you are setting the space. And if that they were with you, they would be able to smell those smells. Like it smells like incense, like hell in here, and glitter candle. So that's the kind of scent that you're getting from me. Let's see. Ren was saying, I was contrasting merely choosing a different rhythm or gentleness with an accent. Speaking softly, gentle persona is less concrete than doing an accent. It would be less natural, so that means don't try. If that is what your inclination is to go to, and if that feels good, go for it. When you first start doing a persona, if you choose to do that for your brand, it's going to be a little difficult to get started. Because it's like you're you, but you're meeting a new person and being them for a little bit. If your voice is going to change, like if you change the rhythm of your cadence, which I'm, again, going to talk about so you know how to do that in detail. If you start noticing those things and you change it up, that creates something, but that's something you need to practice a little bit. This is why actors have rehearsal periods, to work on their stuff. So if you choose to do something like that, I'd suggest giving yourself a rehearsal period before you do it live to get yourself into practice. Same goes for memorizing lines for a show. You're gonna need some time to memorize whatever cadence or persona you're trying to do. Hi, Celestine, I apologize if I am mispronouncing your name, but hello, I hope you're doing awesome today. Thank you so much for joining us. Judy says, it will help the introverts go live on video too. Acting class for psychics. True. You guys are trying to convince me to do an acting class for psychic readers now. Oh my God. This would be fun. That would be fun. We'll see. I'll look at my schedule and see what's up. Noelle says, lol, my son's friends always used to say your mom's house smells like an Asian spice house. How they got that, I don't know, but I normally like patchouli or dragon's blood incense. That's why. That's why. And it actually, now that you say it like that, that's really comforting for me because I love those kinds of smells. But again, I like the Eastern stuff. That reminds me of when I was abroad. So that makes me happy. Okay. Okay, so how to start? Because a lot of questions are like, how do we get started with this? So, first off, you would want to sit down and journal it out, okay? Or speak it out in a voice recorder, or get it down somewhere on the ideal kind of brand that you want. Whether you're a maiden, a mother, or a crone. The kind of brand that you want to have, make sure that you are... you have it down somewhere. Get as specific as possible to the scents, to the smells, everything. That's how come those that are in the mothers and got my, and got the certified Crohn's planner for this year, or those who bought it anyway off of the Etsy shop, go ahead and, there's a section literally for a vision board on where they go ahead and put what does my business smell like? What does it look like? What does it feel like texture wise? What does it taste like? Stuff like that. And when we do branding and do intensive branding, I literally have them go through that because it's important. So write it all down first. Have a brainstorm session. This is perfect to have with a friend because then you can bounce the ideas off other people and see how they feel about it. So that's first. Get it all out first. And don't limit yourself. Don't think about money a part of it. Just put it out. Second, create a branding board. Okay? So that can be on Pinterest. That's the easiest place to go do it. It's just make a board for yourself. You can keep it private and put things that remind you of that in there. Put down fabrics, put down color palettes. I like to go in there and say badass woman aesthetic. I like to put aesthetic at the end because that gives me mood boards that people have made. And I will go ahead and add those into my branding board. I have a branding board. The kind of business that I originally envisioned the Academy to be was every divination level was a chakra. So all of my Academy stuff was based off of the color of that chakra. Crown Activate Psychic Development course. Start Reading Tarot Intuitively was the root. So that was red. Now it's turned more into a similar kind of chakra house, but it's split into 3 levels. My maidens are on the ground floor, my mothers are on the second floor, and my crones are up at the top floor. I will happily spell that out for you. Aesthetic. There you go. But that was the way that I visually had it because my thing has always been come into my house and have a cup of tea, sit down with me, and let's work through your stuff. That's how it's always been. So mine was a house. I found the house that I would want it to look like. I found the color palettes. I found the garden. I got pictures for the bathroom. I did it all in that kind of way, and I found the scents and the colors and the tastes and stuff like that. You don't have to get as detailed as I did, but for those of you who are very detail-oriented, you might want to. Take whatever you journaled about and find a visual representation for it. If maybe, and do this though, in the way that your psychic abilities are best used. If you are clairaudient, make a playlist for how your brand looks. Find songs of how your brand is in your mind. If you are clairgustant or clairalient, find some perfumes or some food that reminds you of how you want your brand to look. And anytime you lose sight of that, use it. Like, smell it or eat it. That will help you stay in the moment more. And I have actually suggest that you find something similar to those tastes and smells and put that in your office. Or put that in your reading space, and that will really help you. But get creative with this. And use this to really help yourself explore. Okay? And then, for this, when it comes to voice stuff, because this matters. If you are thinking of an accent, I suggest you go get a tape recorder first. You need a tape recorder for this. And maybe pick a piece of writing. It could be a monologue, like I had to do, or a poem or something, and speak it using your normal voice, or just talk normally. And then listen to it and note the normal cadences of your voice. When you do that, you become very aware of how you speak. And it's not meant to do it in a negative way. It's meant to show you how you need to change your voice to when you use an accent. And then go listen to other people using the accent you want and go back and forth with a voice recorder. So, for example, when I'm thinking and I talk, because the exercise that we had to do this for a voice for performance class, literally, we had to pick an everyday action that we were doing while we were talking about ourselves and how we noticed our voice moving and give examples of what we do. So, how I talk. I was sitting there making a cup of tea and talking about how I noticed my voice. I like to go along a singing scale when I talk. I like to move up when I talk, and I like to move down when I talk. When I'm thinking, I like to click my voice. Or I like to hum when I'm thinking about something and I'm trying to find my train of thought again. Go back through my videos, or even through this one, listen to the replay, and see if you catch me doing that. That's just how I talk. I like to tell stories and be very visual. Physically, I'm moving my hands a lot. So, and I also know where my voice sits. I'm a mezzo-soprano. So I'm on the lower range. My voice sits about chest level down to the diaphragm. If I want to talk any higher, I gotta... It's like I have to get a ball and go up through it, right? So this is something like that when you are doing accent work. So Ren, when it comes to the accents, because I know you specifically asked how to get started with noticing how your voice speaks, or Angela, how you were talking about how your voice is monotone and you feel like it puts people to sleep. Record your voice and notice how you talk and see the differences, and if there's ways that you can shift it if you want it to go towards a certain purpose. Okay, so that's an example of how you can do that. Let me get to questions, because I saw a bunch of questions popping up. Let me see. Let's see. Brittany says, yes, please. Ren says, what does a rehearsal space look like when you don't have scripted lines? Beautiful question. So it would look more like a space when you are practicing. It's going to feel awkward because you're going to be by yourself unless you're working with somebody. But it's going to be sitting there and saying out loud the things that you need to practice. So this would be something that if you want to practice telling yourself that you... or practice telling somebody how much your program is or how much your readings are, say them out loud. You don't have to look yourself in the mirror, but even just saying them out loud, practice saying it. And with an accent, practice doing the accent. That's what rehearsal looks like, even if you don't have lines. My improv people who make up things on the spot for acting, their improv practice is playing games. That's what they do. I can actually give you a link to where I used to go watch improv. All of their stuff made up on the spot, but they do improv games when they are practicing. That's what they do. They play games. And they're focusing on who has the power in this situation, who doesn't, and how can we shift it. This is learning to say yes, and I accept your offer, and I'm going to add on to it. There's different emphasis there. Yep, say them out loud.